How's it going, everybody? So, here we are again. So the Benelux Materia Cup deck lists are all on FFDecks. I figured I would go ahead and review them with y'all. I wanted to do this in Australia in one video, but the Australian lists aren't quite up yet. I know I could go over two of them, but I figured I'll just wait and do like a big wrap-up on Australia's event on Friday. We can kind of get a picture of the meta as a whole, and it'd be kind of nice because the Australian event was only top 8, so I can kind of do the full lessons from the weekend on that. So we have the deck statistics right here. Pretty balanced, actually. Let's go from the top. The winning list was Fire Ice FF6, which is surprising, actually. I did not have this on my radar as the most likely deck to win. And there's a lot of really interesting nuances to this list versus the one that got second place in Florida. I think this is now a list that probably people are going to start to playtest with and against. We'll see how that works out. So first of all, no Stooges in this list, which means they had to kind of go a little bit deeper on some cards. You'll see they're on 3 of this lock, but they also have 1 of the Opus 4 Legend. We're on 9 copies of Sabin for our Giga Chad Sabin. We're on Dataluma. Don't really love that one versus like the Vargas that you'll see sometimes in lists. We're on 5 different copies of the Yeti. All in all, it's definitely interesting. I'm still curious if this deck has long-term legs. I do have to admit this lock being 9k is actually huge, given that the premium removal in the format right now is Hecaton Shear. And he's going to avoid it every single time. But, I mean, other than that, it's a pretty standard FF6 list. There's just a lot of good stuff and not a lot else. I do love how this is a completely legal title list, by the way. Every single card is Category 6. We're up to 2 copies of Terra, which is cool. With the lack of summons, the EX burst is really just there to kill something, but it means that it's kind of a awkward backup to play, especially because this list isn't even on the Stooges to kind of guarantee a target, right? But yeah, not a lot of notes in this list. I'm really happy to see FF6 doing well. Our finalist, so this is the only event that FF13 did well at. I don't know, we'll see as we go through if there just weren't the haymakers in the main deck for stuff. But 13 has, let's go back here. 1, 2, 3 decks in Top Cut by the looks of it. So that makes it the most represented, I believe, unless, yeah, it should be the most represented, so. So this list isn't on the Zidane tech at all. We have the 2 copies of Vanille as special fodder for this Vanille. Basically, you're just looking for a lightning card that you can discard for Vanille special. Something interesting to see, we're on the Alize. So because we're on the Y'shtola, Alize at damage 3 actually does function as a free forward, which is really cool actually, especially when we start factoring in we have Cindy in here as self-damage, and Cindy actually poses an out to one of the more problematic cards. It's not a perfect out to Warrior of Light, because Warrior of Light will kill the Cindy on his way to be doled, so you have to kill them the turn you use the Cindy, but I definitely get it. We're on Lebro, Dodge, a full 3 copies of Dodge. Wow. We're on 3 Saz, 3 Dodge. The 4 cost Godot. Interesting. I mean, I guess this allows us to push some haste through. I've never seen a 13 list on this card before. Put some haste through. It gets the Fang out of Heka range. So if you have Godot plus Fang, you don't die to Hecaton Shear. That's interesting. Lebro also... No, Lebro doesn't get there, because Lebro just gets you to 8k with the Fang, so she'll still die. just the 2 copies of Reeve. I always like this at 3. Just there's so many good 2-drops in the deck. You have even something like Reeve Revive Vanille actually is not bad. If you kind of have a weird hand. You know, like the matchup you're against, say you're against a Wind opponent. Wind actually really does not like a turn 1 Vanille in the slightest. You just kind of tax their entire setup, and their outs to kill a 5 CP forward on turn 1 are just non-existent. So you go a little minus on turn 1, but then you just start kind of doing the normal thing for the rest of the game, and you should be able to kind of outvalue them and kill them before they can actually deal with you. The 3 Bahamut and 3 Amaterasu, no copies of Phoenix, very forward-heavy list, which I guess makes sense if we're on the 3 Alize, 3 Cindy, the Ghetto. I really have liked Squall in 13. I've kind of noticed that like board cleave is something that I can struggle with, and because decks go so minus on hand to deal with the board, this card tends to do really well, especially when you factor in Vanille special into a Squall attack is basically the end of the game. So yeah, it's a pretty solid list. I like it. If you can watch one match from the Top Cut stream, watch the one this deck played, because this list is cool. I don't know if this list is top tier. The pilot of this deck made it look top tier, though. Essentially, this is Cloud Pod. So if you haven't seen this cloud before, you can tap this cloud, put a Category 7 forward in the break zone, and you play one that costs 1 more. And you get into this like really elaborate, interesting combo deck. Like, name another deck that's running 3 copies of 4 CP Aerith, but it becomes this really interesting combo piece, because you can go Cloud Jesse on turn 1, and then you play Barret for free because you have an Avalanche Operative, and Jesse reduces Barret's cost by 1 and does not have a cannot become 0 clause. So then you go Cloud, pop the Barret, play Aerith. Aerith then gets back Barret and another card in the break zone, at which point you play the Barret for free because of Jesse, tap the Barret, kill something, find a way to reactivate the Cloud, turn the Aerith into a Yuffie, swing the Yuffie. The Yuffie activates Cloud. You tap the Barret again, kill another forward, tap the Cloud, turn the Barret into a Warrior of Light or another Aerith. Aerith, get back both Barrets, and you just keep the cycle going. Like, it is really, really cool to see in action. It's essentially this like really elaborate combo deck. It does have a massive choke point. If you can kill the Cloud when they play it before the Cloud gets hastes, it becomes very difficult for them to recover. But it's kind of almost funny how the fact this like almost sneaks in under some of the hate people are running, because people are so teched out to beat 13 that like having a single 5 CP forward just almost isn't like worth going after, as funny as that sounds. We have the 3 Jesse, the 2 Elfie, which help us get to our Jesse. ZG is fantastic in a list like this. We really want win CP as well. You can go into the Barret from a copy of the 2 CP Yuffie. And yeah, I love this list. This is such a cool deck. I'd be curious to see this list and see if it holds up over time. I just don't know how many people are actually going to pilot something like this. So we have Mono Water here. So you see this is a more standard Mono Water, I would say. Well, I say standard, and I'm looking right here and I see a 2 CP Zidane. That's not standard. 2 Tidus, 3 Lightning, 2 Lena, 2 Levy, 3 Ash. Pretty normal forward counts. We're not on any Glaciella or Crystal Shenanigans. No Realm to replay the Ash, but I don't think you really need that. We're on the 3 Blue Worm, 3 Tomberry. We're looking to get that Conga line going. And we are looking to just draw cards. 8 backups with 3 Geomancer, so we're really turboing cards into the break zone. We're just trying to get the 5 Conga line monster forwards into a Leviathan board wipe and just swing for game. Yeah, we see we're on the 2 Poo Poo, the 3 Cucullins to kind of cantrip through the deck real quickly, the 3 Sildra, Yagrosh trying to give us a little bit of a chance against Wind and Ice Earth. This list does have a little bit of 13 hate with the Leviathan and the Leviathan. Actually, let's take one quick look at the FF7 deck again. Yeah, just the one Shantoto. I'm imagining this deck ended up dodging 13 because it really, like, the only other out it has is Eodolus, Warrior of Light, which is a one-of for both of them. Almost would be interested to see how this would look if you ran like one copy of Bosch in here, so you could like use Cloud to turn into Bosch. Use the Bosch, but then you're like losing your Cloud to do that, which is like that feels kind of bad. So I get it. Yeah, this is a pretty standard list outside of the Zidanes, but I also see why the Zidanes are here. It's just another kind of unblockable forward that draws you cards in the right situations, and he demands removal, which again kind of almost goes under 13, just given how people are teching like bigger stuff to deal with 13. It does die to Ixion, which a lot of decks would be on, but alright, it's moving forward. This one looks like Soiree, if I had to guess. No, this is something interesting. Okay. This looks like just a rainbow deck. Yeah, we're on the Ace here for rainbow stuff. Do we have like a... Huh, so we're just running a rainbow backup line. Buddy gets Len, Tyro, Shantoto, Kate Sith, Kimari, Chaos. So we're looking at mostly wind, water? No, we're not. That's very strange. I'm seeing a lot of fire cards. Oh, no, fire is not the biggest one. So yeah, it looks like our backups are mostly earth. We have the wind, water, which covers these. Fires are off element. Vaughn, Ace, Terra, Bosch, Amont, Brunhilde. And we're just trying to get 4 colors for Warrior of Light as quickly as possible. Get our Fusoyas down and try to put in some work from there. We are on the Rydia. I guess Rydia Fusoya is really good because you go Rydia, Fusoya, get back an Amaterasu, and all you need are the 4 counters for Rydia to cast every summon in this list. I actually really like Vaughn with Warrior of Light. Sometimes you can like play your 4th backup, play Vaughn, activate your backups, by pitching a card from hand, and then play Warrior of Light for free. Usually you feel really good when that happens. I think I'd like to see Une in this. Water's not like one of our bigger colors, but it's not a small color for us. And Une plus Rydia is such a good combination. As an aside, seeing Kimari here makes me smile a little bit. Oh yeah, Buddy for Kimari actually is really sick in a list like this. Especially because Kimari ends up taking your opponent's colors, so it makes it easier to do stuff like the Fusoya. Axstar Claws, I believe this is Magissa. So this is the Waltz Magissa list. We're on 3 Waltz 1, 3 Waltz 2. You can kind of use that to feel your Magissa without having to go minus to cast a bomb or a Palom or anything like that. 2 Yuzuki to kind of instant speed, give us a shielding from AoE damage. So that's really, really good against like Wind on Yuffie or Luso right now. Especially because that happens at instant speed. We're on the 3 Ifrit to go ping our Magissa. A little bit risky if your opponent has any damage. Like literally a 1k ping. If you go like Magissa Ifrit and your opponent does, okay, do 1k. Your Magissa dies and you don't get anything out of it. And you just went minus a bunch. But kind of the risk you take, and you just assume that your opponent isn't going to be able to do that. Yeah, every backup pings it. The 1 copy of Arcaicus for some nice clean removal, which is great when it's searchable off of Bosch. And Alfino. There's no Alize in this list, which I like. I think Axstar just is mostly a better Alize at this point. I guess like if you have the Alfino or Alize Alfino in hand, you can go Axstar, Alize Alfino, and that's pretty good, but that seems like it's kind of overkill at that point. A little pie in the sky for my taste. 3 copies of Moro. Moro is really cool because you also discard for effect, so you get to proc your Waltzes, which then pings your Magissa, as long as you can kind of keep cycling things through. The 1 Gutsgo. I'm surprised to see Gutsgo so low in a lot of these lists, but I guess it makes sense. It is searchable. It's not like these decks are like getting to be fine-tuned where every single card does the same thing every time. Something very fun, by the way, is Stola can ping your own Magissa as well. Just that's a fun fact. If you take up 1 damage while Stola's on field, it's a free Magissa search and play. Moving along. This looks like, judging by the name, this is the exact same as the other mono water list. This is a different flavor of 13. We're on just 2 Reeve, but we're still on the 2 Dodge. Just the 8 summons, so we're on 2 Phoenix, 3 Bahamut, 3 Amat. Okay, a little lower on recursion than I would expect with the Phoenix and the Reeve. Usually I would expect that to be like a 3-3. I really like Spectral Keeper in 13 now, just given how much it handles Warrior of Light, which is like the big scary forward that people are running to answer the deck. It's just every turn for free. Warrior of Light doesn't exist. We're on the Zidane in this list at 2. Do we have Godot in here? We don't have Godot, so our only ways of doing this are going to be Phoenix or Reeve. Because, yeah, we're not on... Yeah, we're not on even Caius either. I'd be a little worried that Zidane would brick, but, I mean, it's not like you really dislike pitching him, especially when, like, Gilgamesh is actually in the list, which is actually a pretty nice little pickup when you have Gilgamesh plus Cindy with the Zidane. So that means you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you're going to kill a lightning as well. Seems pretty decent, honestly. 4 CP, kill a 5 cost, haste, swing twice. Deal with my stuff or you lose. It's about where you want to be. 1 Aranea, it's probably is like a hedge in the mirror. Yeah, generally I like the list. I might want to like bump the Phoenixes or the Reeves to increase the Zidane count. Or like if I want to run the Zidanes, but I don't think you really have to. Maybe like if I were to give advice, if the Zidane doesn't come up, maybe just cut it and run 2 Belias in the summon slot, so you can kind of combat trick your way out of a tricky situation. Also, an EX burst never hurts. Moving along, Soiree of Light. Oh, this is a Kieran deck. Yeah, I see Renoa, and I know some shenanigans are going on. This person fears no Arcanist, do they? Wow. Yes, we're on Cecil plus Kieran in Warrior of Light. This is like the aggroest of aggro Soiree, but we are playing backups if we want to. We can curve out. No matter what our backup combo is, we do get to hardcast our Warrior of Light once we get to 4. Emperor is pretty cute here. If you get it off of Kieran, you do get a card back, which means that Kieran cost 4 and got you 2 forwards. 2 really big ones, actually. A lot of these are getting over... I guess a lot of the earlier ones are getting over Heka, but Edel helps with that a lot. Kusith, Amaterasu... this deck's way of beating 13 is just smashing their face back, which is a little funny, actually. It's going to have the same weakness Kieran decks always have, which is Shantoto. Kieran is pretty expensive to go for as a turn 1 play. And the other weakness this list has is Ice Earth, which did not make any appearances whatsoever in the top cut here. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a Kieran Soiree list. There's not too many things I can say about it. Gilgamesh is a nice little cute tech here. Cool. This is a Ice Wind. Yeah, Ice Wind cast. This is the first Wind cast deck in this. It's probably the only one. Looks pretty normal. We're on 2 of this Chocobo. We're not on Yuffie, so we're just gambling we're not going to see 13. Or that we can cast our way out, because our only options to deal with 13 are to dull freeze the field over and over again. Until we outscale them. We're on 3. We can Chocobo Izana, or Izana Chocobo loop here if we need to, but That doesn't handle 13 very well. You still go minus every time you do the loop once. And you're also burning all of your chocobos for the rest of the game to do it. 13 summons. We're on the 3 Ute plus a Nagmalata to get our Evray, the 1 Stiltskin. Sid Polendina, that gets us Sid Haze on an EX burst. Okay. Chocolatte. We're not on Chocobo Sam at all, so that's only searchable off of the Izana. I almost wonder if it's worth running the Chocolate at 2 then. I kind of like the Sid Polendina for being an EX that gets the Sid Haze, but I don't know. Chocolate is just so powerful in Icewind specifically. Icewind is a deck that I always find indexes into draw power pretty heavily. Yeah, I mean, as long as you get your first ice backup down without burning too important of a card, you're probably looking pretty good, to be honest here. And as long as you dodge 13. This deck has no answers to 13 whatsoever, which is, I think, probably the main thing keeping Icewind out of most top cuts and just why people aren't playing it. Ice Lightning. So comparing this to the US list, we're on the Narrow Weiss Restrictor Package, 3 Alcid, 3 Zero Mist. We're on Lastwell Charlotte. 1 copy of Zazat. I guess that's a pretty nice target to cheat in off of the Alcid. Don't hate that at all. 3 Sephiroth, 3 Lightning. Just the 2 Shantoto. Most US lists were on 3. Whoa, we're on a lot of Odins. Wow, are we on a lot of Odins. I guess to run the Seymour as well. There's no like Man in Black or Lightning that really cares about Odin. So we're just saying we want to do this, and this is only a 2. I mean, no, they're not all EXs. There's just 6 of them are EX bursts. Don't know how I feel about that. Oh, that's cute. 1 puck for the 1 Zazat. Could be a little bricky, but this card's always a card that I think is just like on the fringe of playability. So, kind of fun to see. Kuja's really good. Duke Larg and Duke Altana for your Knights. That makes sense. Duke Larg. Do we care about our ice forward power that much? Oh no, we actually really care. Wow, that's a really sneaky good tech. I like this a lot, actually. Usually the 1k power doesn't matter, but because you know Hecaton Shear is the premier removal in the format, getting these above 9k is going to matter a lot. Usually you only see this if people are on the Agrius, but this is totally worth it in this format right now. Wow, what a good metagame call that is. I really, really like that one. A+, good job. Ben, so we have a Rydia Palimporum list on 15 backups. 2 Une, we're on 3 Rydia, yeah, we're on 3 of each of these. 1 copy of Bosch, 1 Garnet, 1 Minwu. Minwu is our protection effect. I feel like that's maybe better served to just be Orin, just to be always 2 cost. It doesn't negate in that it stops the thing from going through, but it does negate as in your opponent can't kill the forward they want to kill. 15 backups is a lot for a list like this. I feel like a lot of times you can get away with significantly fewer. We are going to chain off our soldiers, though. We have our... oh, no, we're not on Kryl. Weird. I would expect to see a Kryl in this somewhere. Sarah for Kolka. Go off. Kolka gets the Rydia. We can do a lot of very similar normal stuff. I'm a little surprised to see the Tyro 3 full copies of Ico. Wow. I guess, like, because Bosch can't get water, probably going a little heavier on the water backups makes sense. I think I'd like to see 1 copy of Rosa here as well. Maybe like cut 1 Mist Dragon for the Starter Rosa. Starter Rosa plus Une is absolutely ludicrous if you've never seen it before. But it also does stuff like get like getting the Minwu to 9k matters quite a bit. Getting like that extra 1k power on just a lot of these forwards could just make all the difference. Very interesting. Surprised to see this many Cactuar as well. I mean, I guess we can hardcast it, but if you're on the ready anyway, you really don't want to hardcast it. I suppose there's not a lot of outright break in these colors, so I sort of get it. So here is our last Fire Lightning 13 list, and we're on the full whammy. We got the 3 Godot, 3 Zidane. We're really going in after our opponent's hand with this list. Ramu, yeah, so the thing about a lot of these lists is you want to keep your summons low to the ground. So having, you need just a certain number of lightning cards that you really want to just be able to cast for a single discard. So Ramu being a 1 CP summon actually is pretty relevant here. 2 Kuja for the mirror. The Reeve makes sense. Wilty, what is, oh, Wilty's cascading into our Zidane. We're really going heavy on that. Meath lets us trade out one of our 2 CPs for another one of our 2 CPs. It's also a good outlet for extra lightnings if you brick on those. We're on 1 of each dodge, which is I really like seeing that. Turning Saz into a blue worm is great, but also this is an EX burst. Allows you to filter through your deck. Just kind of a nice neutral thing to be getting. I actually think the first strike 1k on Saz is almost as good as making 1 targetable sometimes, to be totally honest. I like it. It's a little more all-in. I'd be a little concerned this could hit a list that it just has 0 chance to beat. But it's definitely going to be consistent, and it's going to be powerful, which I don't know how much more you can ask for from a deck, so. How are we on 27? Oh, 27. Yeah, I was going to say, how are we on 27? Yeah, 27 is divisible by 3. Love seeing 3Fs in a list like this, though. That's really sick. Warrior of Light. So this is a Crystal Warrior of Light build. We're on even this Bart's. Okay. Are we on Crystal? We're on 1 copy of Oracle. That's it. So we're really... Ooh, wow. This is a lot to parse. Okay. Soul, Lunith. I guess Bart's Soul does generate the Crystal for Soul to play a Warrior of Light. So you can go like Bart's Soul, Warrior of Light. Okay. I'm with it. 2 Raffia. We're on the Ingus backup. Oh, we're on 3 Samurai, so we are on Crystal Gen backups. Where we can get away with them. 2 class 8th, so we get our... So yeah, we've got... So if we go for non-breakable backups, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing we don't have a fire non-breakable backup, but we have Cosmos. It is possible to lock our backups to not have a fire backup there, but I mean it's a pretty easy fix to not have happen. But it is always fun when you see that like really clean divide. Just the 1 Sildra. Looks like this are really hard for me to parse. I just don't know how much. This reminds me a lot of like older Warrior of Light lists rather than the kind of new low to the ground style you see a lot of. I kind of wonder if this Ferris is actually correct. I mean, like damage 3, play this Ferris, get the Warrior of Light is obviously really good, but I don't know. I almost wonder if like the old Legend is almost better in a list like this, so you can really just get that really big pop-off combo turn, right? Interesting. I mean, it seems solid. This wall actually is really good if you have the critical mass of Warrior of Light. And yeah, we're on, looks like 23 Warriors of Light. So yeah, this wall is like actually neutral with card advantage. He gets 1 on entry and gets 1 when he dies. Alright. Moving along. That's a deck name. Okay, so this is Retainer Soiree. This is actually a list that I identified as being possible for a while. Oh, it's Kieran Soiree. So you're on the 4-cost Gladio because it's a Kieran hit that Noctis can search out. That's interesting. I feel like you might just be better off going all in on the Kieran stuff, like just cutting these and going for like Renoas and like bumping your arc. I guess you have the Ignis here as well. Ignis is cool. Like activating all your characters on attack is really obnoxious, especially when you pair it with Warrior of Light. But we're only on the one. I kind of wonder if we're better off running like 2 Ignis and 1 Gladio instead. I just don't really like this Gladio in most circumstances. Again, we're going to have a really, really big Arcanist weakness. We've got, what, 2, 4, 7, 8 forwards that it doesn't kill by itself. But, I mean, you just open yourself up to that when you play Kieran. Like, that's just an expected problem. Interesting. So, yeah, so Kieran in 13. Apologies. I donated platelets, so that's why the arms are kind of bandaged right now. Very weird. Okay. I'm really not seeing a lot of the haymakers for 13, by the way, in a lot of these topping lists. Again, another one that really, like, Eodolus... No, but there's no Warrior of Light, so Eodolus doesn't actually do the thing here. I think this maybe just is intended to just outvalue and outspeed 13. Slightly different. No, this is the same list. I feel like this one wasn't on... Yeah, it is slightly different. This one's on Two-Headed Dragon. 2 Yuzuki, 2 Alfino, Forza. It's very similar. Very similar. Looks like the backups changed slightly to make room for the Two-Headed Dragon. There's an extra bomb. We're on 3 Eodolus, so we have extra copies of Magissa. Still can't search the Magissa, but you can hard mulligan for her. Like, that's fine. You don't like it, but you can do it. Alright, so takeaways. If definitely Europe has less people teching for 13. I would be a little scared at the next event to be running Wind. Actually, maybe people start teching more heavily for it the next events. Maybe like Wind would be a decent counter meta strat next event in Europe if you expect these trends to hold. I think, yeah, lots of really cool lists. Like the deck diversity is fantastic, right? I mean, we've got 313, 2 Magissa lists, 2 or 3 Soiree lists, and then a bunch of one-ofs. 2 waters as well. Yeah, kind of funny to see Europe be the aggro meta. Usually that's Florida's job, but Florida was the control meta. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me kind of taking a look at all these lists, talking through them, seeing what I like. Once I get the Australian list, I'll get that up as well. I'll probably aim to get that on Friday. But yeah, thanks for watching.